the members that are coming are here today. So we'll go ahead and get started. The bells did ring outside, so that gives us the right? That's the official time. The city staff saying yes, that is the, I didn't really see you say yes.
That works for me.
I'll go ahead and do the invocation if you'll bow your heads with me, please. Father, thank you so much for these wonderful people that share their time and their efforts for the betterment of our city, serving on this Tirz board. Thank you for them and each of their ideas and each of their directions. Father, let us all always be mindful of you and the decisions that we make on behalf of this city. For it's in your name I pray. Amen. Amen. All right. Do we have any visitors or citizens that have registered to talk?
We have no citizen speakers.
Very good. Item number 4 is the approval of the minutes from the August 14th meeting. And you guys got that in your agenda packet. I will be looking for a...
There is one correction. The budget approval that was in 4A was repeated in 4B. So just strike that.
So one correction. Is that a motion with the correction?
Yes.
Motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
We do have one correction to be made. So all those in favor of approving the minutes as written with the one correction, raise your right hand. Looks like it unanimously is approved. Moving on to item number 5, which are monthly reports. This will be the Kerrville 2050 Comprehensive Plan. Before we do that, welcome G. Eichner to the board. We will get to serve on this board for one meeting. And who else is leaving?
I think I am, but I don't know.
And so the 3 of you will continue on. Our legal terms are up, so it was nice serving with you, Judy. Welcome to the board. Also, please welcome at your convenience Andrew Gay, who is going to also join. And I think he was approved to serve on the board. Did we have any other appointments?
I believe Crystal Smith was also appointed. I know.
Good. So you guys will have some things to do at your next board meeting, as you are well aware. Appointments of officers and so on and so forth. That's for next meeting, but welcome. All right. Now monthly reports.
And if I may, I'll also point out Jim Mullins has joined us. He is the Main Street Advisory Board liaison to the Tirz board.
Great.
So they voted him in this morning at their meeting. So. Let me catch back up. So for the comprehensive plan update, as you guys are well aware, the Tirz board helped fund the comp plan update to add the downtown plan. And that got you guys this hot seat for the downtown advisory committee with one liaison from Main Street and one liaison from HDBA. Main Street board also appointed a downtown advisory committee liaison for that purpose this morning as well. The next meeting will be October 23rd at 2 o'clock. And that'll be in the council chambers here. And that Freese and Nichols will go over some of the details. I'll get into that in just a moment. Also on the 23rd at 4 o'clock, the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee, which is P&Z, they were appointed as that advisory committee. We'll be meeting at 4 o'clock. And then we have a community open house at 6 o'clock across the street at Arcadia Live Theater. So we'll cross-post all of the various boards that are involved. So y'all are free to attend any and all of those meetings. Obviously, we'll need your presence at the Downtown Advisory Committee, but you're welcome to attend the others as well. So for that meeting, Freese and Nichols will introduce the process and the expected deliverables, go over the preliminary analysis and the applicable survey responses. That public survey did have a section specific to downtown, so they'll present those. Discuss the engagement and stakeholders for downtown, looking for some feedback from the committee on what stakeholders they should be interviewing for the downtown plan. And then do a SWOT or a SOAR analysis for downtown and open dialogue with the committee. That'll be on the 23rd at 2 o'clock. And the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee will actually be their second meeting. So they'll be going through some preliminary analysis as well, showing what they've found from the survey, the overall survey, and some of the key points that Freese and Nichols has identified. And then the community open house will be sharing all of that information with the community. And it will have some interactive stations as well as a presentation.
Very
That's all I
good.
have for that, unless y'all have any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Paxton. All right, on to agenda item 6A, a proposed engineering design scope and fee for the roundabout at the intersection of Shriner Street and Clay Street. And I guess you're going to be Mr. Hornis today
Yes.
instead.
Sorry, I should have said that at the beginning. Mr.
Okay.
Hornis is out sick today, so you get me.
Yay.
So I'm stepping
Okay.
in for him today. The last city council meeting, Mr. Hornis presented the Tirz recommendation to fund the engineering for the roundabout at Shriner and Clay at their workshop. As you guys know, it is a key priority area under the community and neighborhood character and placemaking and downtown revitalization for those two guiding principles. One of the things that council wanted to see were the crash data in recent years at that intersection to really weigh in on how much of a safety impact could the roundabout have. Council did discuss the total of 9 crashes over 5 years. They looked at a comparison to the roundabout at Gulf and Tivy and Cypress Creek. I think the data they were presented then was just 1 accident in 2023. They didn't have the prior year data for that roundabout. They walked through the engineering cost. Again, the construction cost is unknown. That was one of the reasons the Tirz board wanted to fund the engineering, was to get a better scope of work and understand the final cost. A recap of where this area entails. And so ultimately, council recommended city staff put it on a future agenda for council to look at with a probable estimated cost. So staff's going to go back to the engineering firm and see if they can work up a probable cost prior to engineering, so it won't be as detailed. And then probably look at some of the drainage, because the drainage was not included in that $50,000 estimate for the engineering. So if they wanted to dig in that deep, they wanted to tackle some of the drainage concerns as well. And then acknowledging that we're just kicking off the downtown plan with the comprehensive plan update, actually recommended we wait till that downtown plan is completed and the Tirz board, Main Street board, and the community have a full list of priorities before we spend that money on engineering. So, any questions there?
Curious about other stakeholders in that region around the intersection. I mean, I know Mr. Stone
Right.
obviously has an interest, but any feedback or either pushback or support?
There is support. Jeremy Walther spoke in favor of it. He's leading the Kerrville Urban Trail System, the CUTS. They've incorporated that into their overall design because the roundabout was talked about in the 2050 plan. They incorporated into their plans. They weren't, CUTS was not necessarily pushing that as a high priority, just recognizing that it was part of the city plans, so they incorporated that. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Stone and Mr. Walther were the only ones that spoke to the council at the workshop. Is that right, Mr. Stone? Okay.
Drew, can you go back to that drawing? Because it's not in our packet. So one of the things that I've heard about this is, and I think this addresses it, it's hard to tell from the small drawing there without being able to study it, but one of the things that I've heard is that the traffic circles the city did in River Hill are ineffective. And my comment has always been, well, they weren't frankly done right because they didn't incorporate properties, or, you know, they needed additional property around them.
Right.
They just stayed within the right of way, which was a mistake. And so it looks like that may be addressed here. It's hard to tell on the small version. I don't know if you can share that with us or not, but that is a concern that's come up to me from folks that, you know, my comment's always Gulf Street works, but I agree, River Hill, they're horrible. In fact,
Right.
they're almost worse than not having them. And, so we need to make sure in the design that it actually does do what it's supposed to do, because I like traffic circles, but when they're not designed right, they actually don't help.
Right. Certainly, I'm not a traffic engineer,
Neither am I.
but I will say from the varying designs that I've seen and driven through, including River Hill Boulevard, if you notice, the island on this one is as wide as the streets coming into it.
Right.
So unlike River Hill Boulevard, where you can, in some instances, almost drive straight through it without going over the median, this would require you to at least go around the median. It's not as large as the one at Gulf Street, but I say that to say that I believe it would be adequate to actually have a safety impact, a positive safety impact, to slow traffic down moving around that roundabout.
And I mention it because it's something that's already coming up.
Yes. And I know City Council spoke about that at length as well.
Okay.
River Hill Boulevard, as you well know, have gone through several iterations trying to figure out what works best between elevated hardscape and landscaping. A lot of that was taken out for low-lying landscaping. Had the three-way stops prior to the roundabouts going in. Added rumble strips on some of those intersections. It's just without expanding the right-of-way, you're spot on. It's difficult to really manipulate that traffic to slow it down.
Right.
Drew, what about the drainage? I've just never heard that drainage over there was a big problem. So what can you tell us?
Very little. There is quite a bit of drainage coming through this area.
Comes down Clay.
Coming down Clay Street. There is a small channel that runs along Shriner, right adjacent to the building on the east side of the intersection. That water coming down Clay, if it's a big rain, I know Mr. Stone can speak to it, it does come up over the curb through their parking lot. I don't know if the drainage should continue down Clay or if it should turn down Shriner and divert. I know engineering wants to do some surveying and look at that. Obviously, it's not for Kerrville, it's a pretty flat area, but there is a lot of water coming through it. So I wanted to make sure that we incorporate that into the overall design, rather than just assume the drainage is okay and put a roundabout in the middle of it.
Well, whatever you do, don't put a traffic light in, because the one at the Star backs the traffic up.
Right.
It takes you 3 tries to get through there if you get into it. I don't know if that was well thought out, but it really has backed up traffic.
Yeah,
down here.
there's several instances around town where there's a traffic light 1 block away, and it does cause tendency to back things up.
It's actually getting on to Sidney Baker,
Mhm.
where the traffic's trying to turn right to come downtown, and there's nowhere to go.
Right.
It's hard when the state does one light and the city does another.
True.
It is.
They don't communicate.
And if I'm not mistaken, the rework done on the Star at Earl Garrett and Water was supposed to advance the technology so that it can be synced better with TxDOT. I don't know that they've gotten that into play yet. I suspect not, because I see it out my window all day.
Just don't put a traffic light there.
So has the 50,000 been allocated?
No.
No, that's what,
Yeah, that's what council postponed. The
right.
Tirz board had given their recommendation to council, but they decided to postpone it until the downtown plan is complete to make sure it is a high priority. And the other piece of that, the Tirz board did talk about it. I think I had a slide in here with. The estimated cost a few years ago was roughly around $1 million. Tirz board currently has, there it is. Your current budget is $600,000. So I think council was a little hesitant to spend the $50,000, not knowing how high of a priority it is, and knowing we don't have the $1 million to fund it. So, and I know the Tirz board didn't want to spend all of their money towards this one project. So The idea was to have the design ready on the shelf. If funding is identified, then we can brush that off and move faster into construction. But the council wanted to wait and double check priorities first.
So are you looking for us to approve a 50,000 for
No.
an
As it-
engineering? No.
This is just a report back to you guys.
This is, okay,
Information.
okay, okay, okay.
That's why I said if we're here much more than 5 seconds, I'm really gonna be upset.
That's all I have unless you have questions.
Any questions?
Now, I just want to make a comment. I think we're premature with this. I just think that we don't have the money. Traffic moves all right through there. 9 accidents in the last 5 years. We've got other intersections that we probably have at least that many, and we're got the cart before the horse.
Well, having gone through there quite a bit, it's only my lightning quick reflexes that have stopped them from being about 4 other wrecks there. Especially in the morning, it is a difficult intersection because of the speed coming east on Shriner and that big bear barn there's where you can't see anything. So it could have been a whole lot more wrecks there.
Well, thank you for
My lightning
your lightning
reflexes.
reflexes.
Any other comments? Thank you.
We'll see you guys October 23rd, and then your regular scheduled meeting is in December.
I don't think we have anything for executive session. Anything else to discuss or put on agendas? I'm hearing none. All right, so it is 3:16. I'm a minute late. We're adjourned.
Thank you all.